As I sit here, I realized I had this little t-shirt I'm wearing today. It says motivator, innovator, believer, and teacher. And one thing I want to say, that this project I'm doing, this website, this even what I do on Facebook or social media, these videos, is not because I'm trying to be a motivator or a motivational speaker in any way. But I do want to be innovative. If there's a new way of doing things, to me, that's one of the worst things that get in people's heads that bring them to a point of suicidal is that hopelessness I talk about a lot. Hopelessness is when you stop thinking there's anything going to change. On the flip side, hope is expecting that change. But people lose hope. They become hopeless because they don't really know what else to do. It's pretty simple. They just don't know what else to do. And they're tired of being tired. They're tired of the fight, the battle, the voices in their head that they fight. And many times they've been doing it for years. So if I can somehow use this tool to motivate, first of all, motivating myself to be innovative and step out of my comfort zone. There's nobody here videoing with me. I do these myself. There's nobody putting makeup on me. I'm just taking whatever mood, what I'm wearing, and I'm just going to speak to you from where I am. Because that's all, where else can I speak from? I don't want to be some faker. I am very real because I'm talking about a very real subject. And I sit here, this one is I'm a believer and a teacher. And one thing I know, that if you don't believe what you're teaching, then you're just a hypocrite. You're just trying to be some power of positive thinking. And you know what? People see that coming a mile off. And so here's what I want to share today, as quickly as I can, is I'm learning things. I've started to realize there was things I believed about suicide and prevention and stuff like that may not have been as accurate as I thought. And so I think that there's purpose, and I have to hope that there's a power bigger than myself that's orchestrating something innovative here, because I ain't making any money off this. This is something I'm just doing because I feel very passionately about something I believe. And so one thing in my searching, I ran across a site that was for people to chat between each other. It was just people stating where they were at in a safe place, that nobody was going to judge them because they were talking to other people that are in the same place they are at. And so I learned a lot, because this whole thing I've already been teaching is that I believe the power is in our hand, that the only person that has any power in suicide is the person that's going to do it. All we can do over here is try to hope and pray and innovate, whatever we can do to try to help people in your world. But the reality is the victim and the victimizer is in the same body. That's very confusing. It's very confusing to family. It's very confusing afterwards, because then they love the person, but they're mad at the person. Like, oh my God, how did you do this? It's not like I can blame cancer. Oh, of course we can blame God. And so why didn't you stop this? And all that's normal. All that's part of the process. And I've been addressing and will address more. But I want to read you something that jumped out at me that was kind of, and I may have already mentioned this, but it was amazing. There was a question that one of the people asked on there, and they said, does anyone else feel a sense of calm and peace when thinking about suicide? They said, I do, and it scares me. I used to feel panicked and anxious when thinking about suicide, and then it would just end up in a decent crying session. But now for a while, I actually feel calm and relieved when I think about it. It's nice to feel that there's always a solution available if things go badly wrong or if I'm just too stressed. When all my life I've heard, just suck it up and keep on moving. And I do, but then I only screw it up all over again. I just want to know if anyone else has had this, because just the thinking about it scares me. The peace scares me. I really don't want to end it. I know my family cares about me, and I don't want them to suffer. But I've had these thoughts for a long time now. The difference is now I don't think negatively about suicide. That scares me. Somebody else said, well, thinking about suicide calms me down too. When I have a problem to face, I start planning my death. so the problem won't have that much control over me. I know it's not healthy, but I really can't stop it. Somebody else said, oh, I did that for a long time, and I know it's not healthy, but if it's all you have that works, it works. It gave me a feeling that I had control over something. There again, that control. Okay, I felt like I had control over something. If nothing else, I could decide if I wanted to stay or go. If I wanted to leave, I could decide how I would go. I knew I'd never follow through with it, but I came very close once. The unfortunate part about fantasizing about one's death is that after a while it starts desensitizing you to your own death. When you spend a significant amount of time picturing your death, it starts to feel less scary, and that's really the unhealthy part about it. Somebody else says, I've come to the conclusion that suicide is logical. Nobody can help me. At this point, I just want the suffering to stop. Everything I do is not enough. I feel horrible and I'm suffocating in my own thoughts every day. I'm thinking how disgusted I am, how unlovable I am, how unworthy. And I just can't do this any longer. It's simply not enough to justify existing. Wow. These things make me want to cry. Somebody else says, life is a scam, period. I didn't ask to be born, yet I'm forced to live this life that I have no interest in. We're expected to work all of our lives, barely scraping by 5 days a week, and then maybe get 2 days off on the average job. And you're expected to do this till you're old? I don't wish to be a slave to this capitalist system anymore. I'm not happy. I've lost interest in everything, and I stopped caring a long time ago. The concept of life is just BS. I'm so tired of purely existing to make other people happy when I'm not happy myself. I just worry that if I finally attempt it, I might fail and then end up worse. Somebody else says this. Suicide prevention seems really selfish. Sure, it gets me to a place where I don't want to die right this minute, but then you leave me alone without any way to fix the problems that got me to this point. Thank you for prolonging my misery with your own self-gratification. If you really cared, you'd help me get the F out of here instead of dragging this thing on, just because you can't deal with my passing. We both know your life would be easier once I'm gone. Somebody else says, oh, they say, just cheer up, Obi, cheer up. You'll feel better. Well, oh my God, geez, thanks. I never thought of that. Basically, people who say that just want to absolve themselves of any guilt. They didn't do anything, and they never intended to do anything. But saying it, oh, but if only, they can become guilt-free for no effort. To me, it's almost as bad as encouraging suicide. Whoa. I don't want to be one of those people. Somebody, they said here, I'm so sick of trying to tell people I'm suicidal and having positivity shoved in my face. Have I done it? Have you done it? Do you ever think people might feel this way?